Hey Slamma Nation, welcome to another episode of Slamma. I'm Big Daddy Chris, and today we'll be giving you a real quick recap of UFC 152, along with a breakdown of every fight from UFC on Fuel. So let's get this breakdown started and give you some information on what happened this weekend. The first fight of the night was Kyle Noke versus Charlie Brenneman. Kyle Noke TKO Charlie Brenneman 45 seconds into the first round. The second fight of the night had Mitch Gagnon versus Willel Watson, and Gagnon beat Watson by submission in 1 minute and 9 seconds. The third fight of the night has Seth Basinski take on Simeon Thurissins, and Basinski won by KO at 4 minutes and 10 seconds of the first round. The next fight of the night, had Marcus Brimage taking on Jimmy Hedis, and Marcus Brimage won by decision. Fight after that was Sean Pearson versus Lance Vinceau, and Sean Pearson won by decision. TJ Grant beat Evan Dunham by decision, and Vinny Magalhaes beat Igor Prykryuk by second round submission at 1 minute and 14 seconds. On the pay-per-view side of the card, they had Cub Swanson versus Charles Oliveira the first fight of the night, and Cub Swanson KO'd Charles Oliveira at the first round at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. What was probably the slowest point of the night had Matt Hamill taking on Roger Hallett. Matt Hamill wasn't throwing a lot of punches, neither was Hallett. It was really boring, and Matt Hamill won by decision. In what would be like the co-main event of the night was Michael Bisping versus Brian Stann. Michael Bisping pulled out a nice decision win, putting himself right up there in top contention for a title shot versus Anderson Silva. In the first ever flyweight title fight, we had Demetrius Johnson versus Joseph Benavidez, which went to decision. A lot of people thought Benavidez was winning the fight, but Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson came out on top and is now the new flyweight champion of the world. In the main event, which was a pretty awesome fight with Vitor Belfort almost pulling out the biggest upset of his career with that almost arm-breaking submission in the first round, but John Jones turned things around, and then by the fourth round, he took complete control and won by submission. It was a really nice Americana. So that was a real quick breakdown of UFC 152. We're going to give you a little information here on some fights that are coming up this weekend on UFC on Fuel. We're going to start out with the first couple of fights. We'll be on Facebook, so don't forget, if you're up early, you can probably catch these fights a little earlier. They might be starting earlier. You'll be able to see a replay later in the evening. But if you're working, if you're out in the morning, definitely don't want to check your phone. You don't want to check Facebook, Twitter, whatever's going on. Don't go to your normal MMA sites because you're going to find results that you might not want to see. So here's a real quick breakdown. The fight is taking place in England, so we'll see. We'll be seeing some things early pop up. So the first fight of the night, you've got Jason Young versus Robert Poletra. Jason Young has had a rough start here in his UFC career. He's 0-2. He took on Dustin Poirier, which was a pretty good fight where he landed some great leg kicks on Poirier, but he still lost a decision. He also lost to Michihiro Omagawa, who Young really looked good in that fight. So I'm thinking his takedowns are going to come into play in this fight. I also think that his leg kicks, he might start using his leg kicks, but I'm thinking that's how I think that's how Young will probably win the fight. But Polero will come out ready to bang. He also has good takedown defense, so he might be able to stop what Young has to offer. So the next fight of the night, we have – sorry, I'm pulling it up here. The next fight of the night, we have DeMarcus the Darkness Johnson versus Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson is a European prospect who has a Renzo Gracie black belt and also trains in karate and also has a black belt in karate. DeMarcus Johnson is always in exciting fights. Either win or lose, there's always a finish. I don't think he's ever got to a decision in his UFC career. So more than likely what we're going to see here is Gunnar Nelson take this fight to the ground. DeMarcus Johnson is very good with offensive jiu-jitsu, but he really isn't very good defensively, to where Gunnar Nelson might take this fight to the ground and dominate with jiu-jitsu. The third fight on Facebook is Tom Watson versus Brad Tavares. Tom Watson comes out of Greg Jackson's camp. He's another big-time prospect from, I believe he's from England. Not 100% sure on that. But Brad Tavares, we've seen him on The Ultimate Fighter. This should be a striking fight. I don't think it's going to go to the ground. I think Tom Watson's got cleaner, crisper stand-up than Brad Tavares. And more than likely we might see a pretty good fight on this card. Could be a knockout. Could be a decision. I think Tom Watson might pull this one out. The next Facebook fight we have is Andy Ogle versus Akira Kurosani. Both guys are from the Ultimate Fighter. Both of them didn't have an opportunity to fight on the Ultimate Fighter finale shows, so they're going to get their first chance inside the octagon. You've got Kurosani is coming off of season 14, and Ogle is coming off of season 15 of the Ultimate Fighter. Both of them come out very aggressive. I could see this fight, swinging punches left and right. Someone might gasp because a lot of times when these guys come out with their first fights, they waste all their energy right away in the UFC, and someone kind of will gasp. But I'm thinking Kurosani is going to win this fight by second round knockout. The next fight of the night is another prospect that they have coming out. Jimmy Manuwa is all his fights pretty much been first round knockouts. So this guy's packing some power behind his punches, and he's taking on UFC veteran Kyle Kingsbury. Kingsbury should go for the takedowns in this fight. More than likely, that's what we'll see. But he has at times tried to stand and trade with fighters. If he does with this one, he could get knocked out. We could see what happened with him when he took on prospect Glover Teixeira, and we all heard about him. We could see Kyle Kingsbury in for a long night. Should be a good fight. That will be all the Facebook fights of the night. After that, now we've got Fuel TV starting, and local fighter Dwayne Bang Ludwig will be taking on Che Mills. Both guys are stand-up fighters. Ludwig does have wrestling. Can't pick against Ludwig in this fight if you're from Colorado. Che Mills is known for knockout power. Ludwig is known for knockout power. We could see the fight of the night and KO of the night in one card on one fight. So what I'm picking is Dwayne Ludwig by first round knockout. The next fight we have Paul Sass versus another Colorado guy and Matt Handsome Wyman. Paul Sass is pretty aggressive with his takedowns. Matt Wyman's got good striking, probably better striking in his fights. He's got decent submission skills, but what I'm seeing is Paul Sass is going to grind out a long 3-round unanimous decision. The next fight of the night has Brad Pickett versus Yves Jabouin, or however you say it. Pickett's skilled everywhere. He's got excellent striking. He's got excellent submissions. He's probably more than likely going to take this fight to the ground and work for top position. You can expect him to push the pace. You can expect him to mix up striking and takedowns. More than likely win this fight by submission or decision. I'm taking Brad Pickett, second round submission. The next fight after this is John Hathaway versus John McGuire. Battle of the Johns. John Hathaway only has one loss in his career. He's from England. He has some pretty nice wins over Rick Story and Diego Sanchez. He's considered probably one of the top prospects until he lost to Mike Pyle. Injuries have kind of kept him sidelined for a while, but what I'm seeing is most of his fights have been won by decision. I think he's going to take McGuire down and win by decision. I think this is Hathaway's fight to lose. He more than likely is going to win. So, if you want to win some money, put some money on John Hathaway. Or bet someone who doesn't know John Hathaway and win that way. In the co-main event of this fight, it's going to be one hell of a fight. You've got Dan the Outlaw Hardy versus Amir Sadallah. Sadallah, coming off the Ultimate Fighter, winning the Ultimate Fighter, has really been working on his striking. Dan Hardy is known for his striking and his knockout power. What you can see here is Amir Sadallah and him are probably both going to go at it. Sadallah's not afraid to stand and bang with anybody. He's going to go back and forth. What we could see is Dan Hardy winning by knockout. You could see Amir Sadallah win by submission. I'm thinking Dan Hardy's probably his fight's going to go back and forth. Could be a split decision. I'm thinking more than likely what's going to happen is Dan Hardy is going to win based off of being in his hometown or home country. Sorry, I don't know if it's hometown. In the main event, you've got skyscraper Stefan Struve taking on Stipe Miocic. In this fight, Struve is now 5-1 in his past 6 fights, and he's had some great wins over Dave Herman and Pat Barry. Miocic is still undefeated. He's on his 3rd UFC win, and he just beat Shane Del Rosario, who's probably one of the best up-and-coming strikers out there. Miocic has shown some holes in his defense he showed some holes in his game, but Struve, I don't think, is anywhere near Shane Del Rosario's striking level. He's been known to get knocked out, and that's more than likely what I'm thinking is going to happen. Is the first round is going to be a fill back and forth, and you're probably going to see a Miocic knock out Struve or win by TKO. So that's going to be the breakdown for this card. We're the only show in Colorado that talks about every fight. You can take what I have to offer, good or bad. I think there's some great fights. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Keep an eye out for our website. We just had some talks. Things were going pretty good there. Should have a website coming up here within the next couple of weeks. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. Like us on Facebook. Also follow us on Twitter. Remember, both those Facebook is Facebook.com/SlammaTV, and we're at SlammaTV on Twitter. Hopefully we'll get Hopefully we'll get Heartbreaking Howie back in here. Get things going there. Everyone, enjoy your day. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the fights this weekend.
You put the